Hey guys, it's Sophie again. I'm gonna apologize in advance for how sped up this is, but this brought it down to a 13-minute video, and there wasn't any real parts I could speed up more than they already are because it's gonna get a bit stally, but it's all kind of like switching around shenanigans stally, so I felt bad speeding one part up. So to get into it, I just lead off with my Chansey to get the stealth rocks up. He's obviously gonna lead off with Hippopotas to get his Sandstorm and his own rocks up. So I switch into Ferroseed, knowing it probably can't touch me, and just go for the spikes, thinking he'll switch into something that can threaten this out. And obviously, if he switches into Celebi, he's going to have some sort of thing that will kill me, and it's actually the Hidden Power of Fire, which I see by going to my Mismagius, who will threaten him out with the Shadow Ball. And at this point, I know I can trick a Choice Scarf onto whatever he switches in. Even that Celebi if it wants a Choice Scarf, but I know it doesn't. It's going to be threatened out with the Shadow Ball as well. And I'm going to get the Violate from that Hippopotas, which is going to be nice because I give it the Choice Scarf, and I'm going to be able to, I could give this a Violate to something else later. I Will-O-Wisp it knowing that it'll go for some sort of physical move. This is my first Yu-Gi-Oh match, so I wasn't really sure what. And it goes for the Crunch. And I'm like, alright, well, that did nothing because you're burnt. And knowing he's locked into it, I can just switch into Hitmontop, knowing I'll be safe either way, to go for a Rapid Spin because rocks really threaten my team. And I do not need them floating around, hurting my Arcanine, hurting my Zapdos. So I'm going to keep those gone at all costs. So after Lefties and Sandstorm, I'm going to switch out into my Arcanine to obviously threaten the Celebi, and he's going to have to go for the Recover to get rid of all that Sandstorm and Spikes and Rocks that are up. And I know obviously it can't touch me since it's got Hidden Power Fire, Recover, Leech Seed, and I guess we learn later Giga Drain, which he would, I think most Celebis run that for stab and whatnot. So I'm going to threaten it out with the Flare Blitz, and he's going to go up into this Hippowdon thing. And I go for the Toxic here thinking, alright, I know it's not going to affect his Hippopotas, sorry I called it Hippowdon earlier, but its name, it gets confusing. I know it's not going to hit its Empoleon or its Hippopotas, but if something else comes in, it'll be nice to have it Toxic. And either way, it's not, this thing's dying from burn. So I'm just going to switch into Hitmontops, thinking I know I probably could have I don't know if I would outspeed and go for the Flare Blitz. Like I said, I'm not really sure speeds and whatnot. But I wasn't sure if an Extreme Speed would KO it at that range, and I wanted to go into Hitmontop just in case he got the Stealth Rocks up again because, like I said, he doesn't have a spin blocker, and I don't want those there, so I could have just rapid spun them away, knowing if when he locks himself into Crunch, that's not going to hurt much. So at this point, since he decides to just go for the Crunch, not lock himself into Stealth Rocks or anything, I just go for the Close Combat to kill him off, and I'm feeling pretty good now because now he can't get Entry Hazards up. Those won't be a threat to my team, so I'll just be able to switch out and do all kinds of shenanigans. So I switched into Mismagius again, not wanting to Shadow Ball it, which I don't know if he assumes I'll go for that to get a good chunk on him. But I know he'll have the Recover, so I don't want to do that, and I'm not sure how much it'll do. And at this point, I was worried that the Leech Seed would kill me, but it brings me down to 9. And I'm able to trick this Celebi, the Violate that I got from the Hippopotas earlier, which is actually, it really helps having this thing not have leftovers, because with Giga Drain, Sandstorm, Leech Seed, all those things racking up to give this thing recovery, and since it has Recover, it helps to let it not have that after turn leftovers a lot. So he switches into Empoleon here, obviously knowing if I go for Toxic or Flare Blitz I can take it, but I do a double switch into Ferroseed, pretty much predicting that he'll go into that. And knowing that I'll want to get more spikes up just to get that extra damage on everything coming in. So at this point he brings in the Bouffalant, and I switch into Hitmontop to get an Intimidate off on it. And I assume the Head Charge won't do too much after the Intimidate, but that does a giant chunk. And I'm like, okay, alright, I can switch into Arcanine, and at -2, how much is the Head Charge gonna do? Like, honestly. And it does a ton. And at this point, that was kind of dumb because I forgot that obviously Sandstorm, Morning Sun isn't gonna recover as much when I use it. it's only going to recover 25%, I think. So it's really, I'm not going to have any sort of like useful recovery too much. But I go for it anyway thinking, alright, it's at -2, like I can take another one. But he gets a crit and I'm like, oh no, oh no. I'm really worried because the only thing I have to hit that Celebi now is Heat Wave on Zapdos, and it's not Stab, and it's not really a attacking Zapdos, it's just a bulky one, so I know it's not going to do too much. But I switch into Hitmontop again, knowing -3, okay, it's not going to do much at this point. I can get the rest off, and I know the recoil from Head Smash and Sandstorm will kill it off either way. So now he goes into the Celebi yet again, knowing I'm sleeping, I can't do anything to him. But I feel pretty good now going into my Zapdos because this is the only thing I can hit this thing with. And I know he's going to go for the recover because obviously those spikes and stealth rocks are hurting it. He can't do anything about that. And at this point I'm like, alright, just going to go straight for the Heat Wave. I don't care if he switches out, I'm going to hit it, but it misses and it gets the Leech Seed off. And this thing is honestly I have the bane of my existence this match. I watch so many videos where people just say, that thing was the bane of my existence, but I'm starting to understand after seeing that Celebi. And at this point I went for the Thunderbolt thinking, alright, if he switches into Empoleon, I just want to catch it by surprise. Not really sure why he would switch into the Empoleon, knowing I have Thunderbolt, and sorry it freezes here because my Camtasia sucks and my computer froze. But here it's back now, and I Toxic it before I leave, knowing the Scald won't do too much. Scald. I know how to pronounce Scald. And he gets the burn, which is like, alright, whatever. I have Heal Bell in my Chansey, so I'm not too worried about the burn and whatever. I needed this thing Toxic because with spikes and rocks and Toxic, the damage on that's gonna rack up. So at this point, I need to save that Zapdos, because if I don't have that Zapdos, absolutely nothing will hit this Chansey, and I won't even be able to pressure stall it, which, yes, I was willing to do that at that point. I just wanted this thing dead. So I go for the Heal Bell, because my Zapdos won't be burned anymore, and I can wake up my Hitmontop so it can come in later and do some work, and he Leech Seeds the Chansey, which is just like, oh my god, Chansey, why do you lose like 200 damage when you're Leech Seeded? It's pretty ridiculous. So obviously that's going to give him like 25% of his health back or something ridiculous like that. I'm completely over exaggerating here, by the way, on both notes, but it still annoyed me. So I need a Roost, because I know he can't really do anything to me, and I need to get this thing back to as much health as I can. And after Sandstorm, Leech Seed, Hidden Power Fire, I'm gonna still have gained about 100 health from that whole little interchange that just went on. So I know I'm safe to go for another Roost in case he wants to keep Hidden Power Firing, or if he wants to switch out, which I'm sure he does, because with pressure and whatnot, he wants to save some Hidden Power Fires, so I can't completely wall him with my Ferroseed. And pretty much he just can't do anything, and I'm going to Roost. So anyway, so he switches into this Gastrodon, and I know it's probably a good plan, because with Leech Seed, he's going to get some of that entry hazard damage back. And I'm going to switch into Ferroseed here, knowing he has Toxic, Recover, Scald, Earth Power, which I see afterwards. Like I said, I'm not really sure of sets. And I can get my third layer of spikes up here, which obviously is going to help me a lot. And it just really will help in the long run when it comes to damage on these incoming pokes, because he's going to have to keep switching around. So I go into Zapdos again, knowing he'll go for the Hidden Power Fire, and not wanting to sack my Ferroseed just yet. And knowing that it's just not doing too much to my Zapdos. So I'm safe to go for the Roost again, and knowing he'll Leech Seed or Recover or something, and I just want to be as close to full health as I can be at all times, because I am just so worried about losing my Zapdos. And that was probably sort of a misplay, because if I had gone for the Heat Wave there, I believe it would have killed. But with Leech Seed Recovery, it's not gonna kill. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And this is where I noticed the Violite really helps me out here, because if he had Lefties, Leech Seed, all of that, he would be at like almost full health all the time, and I would not want to deal with that. And that would be keeping the Sandstorm from affecting him. So here I go for the Toxic, thinking if he wants to stay in, eventually I'll be able to Roost stall to where I can use a Heat Wave and kill it off, because Toxic will obviously be racking up. I know he has natural cure and he can switch out, but honestly, I just want this thing out of my face right now, so if he does switch out, I'm fine with that. And he decides to go into his Gastrodon here, and I know, obviously, 3 layers of Spike, Pointed, and Stealth Rocks, and Poison, it's all going to rack up. So I'm safe to go for another Roost, as I said, trying to Roost all that Celebi if it wants to stay in with that Poison. And here I switch it back into my Ferroseed because I don't want that Leech Seed to give it any more health back. I want that Poison to rack up. And I know he'll either go for the Toxic or the Scald. Or he'll go for the Recover. I guess I was wrong. But if he goes for the Scald, trying to get the burn off on this Ferroseed, I know that I can just Heal Bell that off with Chansey. And either way, I can go for the Gyro Ball here. I can never pronounce it right. I said Gyro Ball to someone once, and they were like, "Oh my God, you are absolutely the dumbest person in the world." And yeah, it's pretty dumb when I say Gyro Ball. And I went for the Gyro Ball first because I didn't want him to switch his Celebi in, get a free switch for my Leech Seed, but he's obviously just wanting to keep this thing in at this point, so now I go for the Leech Seed, wanting that health and wanting that recovery back because I don't want my Ferroseed to die just yet. And he obviously just wanted a free switch in and he wanted to sack that Gastrodon. So now I don't want to risk getting killed by Hidden Power Fire, so I go back into my Zapdos, thinking he'll want to go for that Hidden Power Fire, knowing that the Sandstorm will hopefully bring him down into range to where I can Heat Wave, outspeed, Heat Wave, and kill it. And it actually happens that way. I get the Heat Wave off, thankfully doesn't miss this time. He goes for the Leech Seed, but his own Sandstorm is going to kill that annoying piece of pink crap off this turn, and I was so relieved at this point. Because that thing was just walling my entire team, especially after that crit killing my Arcanine off. So I know he sends in his Empoleon pretty much to die, knowing it's kind of useless at this point, and I just T-Bolt it. And his last Pokemon is going to be a Sandslash, which he's going to, I'm going to go a little bit ahead because I want to say a little bit at the end and I don't want too much black screen. He's going to Swords Dance, and I'm going to get the Toxic off on it, so eventually it'll wear down, and I have 3 Pokemon, so I can sack a couple just to like wear it down with Poison, and I have Protect on Ferroseed, which I'm going to do. I'm actually going to end up getting a double Protect, which you'll see in a second. Sorry to spoil that, but I just wanted to explain because I think he thought that the double Protect would have brought it down, which I sent in Hitmod Top here to get the -1 with the Intimidate, but it still kills me off. But with Life Orb, even if I didn't get the double Protect right now with Ferroseed, the Life Orb from the time I didn't get the Protect when he kills my Ferroseed would have hurt him enough to the point where sending in Zapdos, I could have killed it, or it's gonna die from Poison. But anyway, as you see, I get the double Protect, not the triple Protect, obviously, and he's gonna die here from Life Orb and Poison, and it's going to be a 2-0. And that was good game, and yeah, black screen. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate likes, subscribes, all that, and I love y'all. Bye!